All right, now that you know your numbers and you have already set your goals as well in the first sheet, which was set your goals, and in the second sheet, which was know your numbers. Now you have everything you need to get started on your golden path and actually start to understand where you are going financially in the future. In order to do that, go on the third tab here, which says start your golden path. So what is happening in this sheet is all the goals that you have set for yourself, they all have a time horizon, some of which might happen actually decades down the line. For example, in this scenario, retirement, it happens 20 years down the line in this particular example, right? So it's really difficult for you to wrap your head around what you need to do in order to reach a goal 20 years down the line. It's not as easy to think about it than a goal of, okay, in 3 months I want to buy a MacBook or I want to buy a laptop, right? So that's way easier to think about. Now we want to give you an idea of how you can actually set monthly saving and investing targets for each of those goals. So in the third sheet, starting at the top left, you have your goals. So this is the same table that you created in the first sheet yourself. But then what we are doing here for you is that we are now converting the amount of money that you need for each goal to a specific monthly savings target. How are we doing that? So if your goal is in a time horizon less than 5 years, we are basically looking at it as a linear saving option. What does that mean? It means that if you want to buy a MacBook for 30,000 kroners in 3 months, we simply divide that by the number of months left, and you just keep saving that money until you reach that goal. So in this scenario, 3 months, 30,000 kroners, it would be 10,000 kroners per month that you would need to save to get to this number, right? So you might ask, why 5 years? If you remember from the earlier in the course, the longer you make your time horizon when you are investing your money, the less risk you will have. And 5 years is roughly a cutoff that we have defined here, which is if you need a piece of money, if you need an amount of money in less than 5 years, it would be very risky for you to put that money in the financial markets or in the stock market, because you have no idea what the markets would do in short term. If you remember, like the longer that I made my time horizon in the S&P 500 example, the less risk I had, the more sure I was that I'm going to get something in return. I'm going to get like interest basically on top of it. So in this scenario, if your time horizon is below 5 years, we do not recommend putting your money in the stock market because the risk is too high. You have no idea what will happen in the next 2 years. And then if you are doing, for example, if you want to buy an apartment in 5 years and you put the majority of your down payment in the stock market, and then at the 5-year mark, for whatever reason the stock market is down right now, you would not be able to sell your investments. It wouldn't be wise to sell your investments at a loss. And you would never do that. So if you need your money in less than 5 years, we would not recommend putting it in a stock market. So that's how all of these calculations are done here. If your goal is less than 5 years, it's simply a monthly linear saving per month. So 30,000, 3 months, 10,000. The second scenario is 30,000, 4 years, it means 625 kroner per month. And that's very simple. And you see that being designated by this cash symbol on the left side. And if your goal is longer than 5 years in horizon, now we actually convert it to a monthly investing goal. Meaning that we now assume you're gonna have a monthly investing target and you're gonna put that into an index fund and start saving. And then we assume that that saving is gonna increase in value on an 8% like growth every single year. And that 8% came from the S&P 500 in the past 40 years minus inflation, as you imagine, right? So this is a rough estimation. Remember, none of these actually happen that cleanly in real life. So when we say an average of 8%, it means that 1 year you're gonna get plus 22% return, and 1 year you're gonna get minus 12% return. But it averages out to about that roughly like 8%. You can do this calculation with 7% as well if you want to be like a little bit more conservative. But it's a rough kind of directional calculation. So the idea here is that by converting your longer term goals into specific monthly savings and investing targets, it makes it way more tangible for you to understand what does it mean if I want to retire in 20 years. In this particular scenario, with the goal that I set for myself, which is like below here, I said I'm 35 years old, I want to retire in 20 years, and I want to be able to spend 60,000 kroners net after my retirement. So in order to make that amount of money, I need to invest this much. I need to have this much under investment, right? So now the question is, how do I get to this very, very, very large number? And that's how we did the calculation here. So in this particular example, for 80 million kroners in 20 years, assuming an 80% return in the stock market, I'm gonna have to save 30,600 kroners per month in order to hit this goal. Right? So that is what's happening to every single one of your goals here. So in your particular case, with the goals that you have set, look at this table. You're gonna see how much money you need to save on a monthly basis for each of those goals. And then on the right-hand side, you can see this comparison. So on the right side, it's the sum of all the monthly investing or saving targets that you need to make for your goals. So in this scenario, it would be I need to save 46,000 kroner per month in order to reach my goals, starting this month. Obviously, as soon as you reach one of these goals, that would go away and that money would not be saved anymore. But that's a different discussion. But that roughly tells you, okay, starting next month, how much money do I need to start saving or investing depending on the time horizon of the goal. And then on the left-hand side, the purple one, you are seeing how much you are currently saving or investing based on the Know Your Numbers table. So look at these two numbers, compare them, see how far off you are compared to your goals. So if your goals in this particular scenario, if your goals is way off, like I need to save 46,000 kroner per month, but I'm saving 3,000 kroner per month, that means I'm way off. So now you have two options. You can either think about decreasing your goals or be more realistic about your goals, or increasing your monthly saving and investment rate. In this hypothetical scenario, this would not even be possible at all because 46,000 kroner is 99% of my income in this Know Your Numbers table that I had. So this would not be possible at all. So let's actually simplify this so you can follow along. As you have seen, the retirement goal is the biggest goal that you would have on this list. It requires the most amount of money. So in order to simplify and everything and kind of run through the process for you, I'm going to remove all of the other goals that exist here. You can choose to do the same for yourself for a moment. Just remove everything else that you have, keep retirement, and adjust your retirement to what makes sense for you. So in this scenario, 60,000 kroner per month is actually too high. So I would probably want to go to 40,000, but I still want to retire in 20 years. I don't want to work after, I don't want to have to work after I'm 55 years old. So if I want to do this, it means I need to save 12 million kroners by the time I'm 55 years old. I need to invest that much money. So now back to the savings sheet. Now you can see this. So I now have one goal. That goal needs to happen in 20 years. 12 million kroner is needed. It means I need to save 20,400 kroner per month in order to reach that goal. But I'm saving 3,000 kroner. and I am not gonna get to my goal at all. In order to see this, I want you to look at this graph. So if you scroll down in your sheet, you can actually see this graph. This graph, the gray graph, shows you if you continue on the same path that you are right now. So if you keep saving the amount that you're saving right now, assuming that you're going to invest it in the stock market and get a return of 8% per year, if you continue on your current trajectory, this is how much money you're going to have by year. So by the time I'm 65 years old, saving 3,300 kroner per month, I'm going to end up with 5.1 million kroner, which is not even close to the retirement goal that I had for myself, which was 12 million kroners, right? So that is very clear, because we are seeing there's a huge difference between what I'm saving and what I need to save for that particular goal.